You got to understand this. I'm not for taking money for the police department. I think we need more police. My studio is in a neighborhood where I think we need police, but we don't need a police that have or that are undertrained. And you got to understand, I have really close friends who are police officers that I love dearly, who are really good people, who have been very, very hurt by this as well. And here's what I want you to understand, Anderson. Wrong, where there's wrong, I'm going to stand up against it. When Rashad Brooks was murdered, I thought that was wrong. When George Floyd was murdered, I thought that was wrong, like so many other people. But when a police officer who was white in a suburb in Atlanta was shot in the head by a shoplifter, I thought that was wrong too, and I reached out to do what I can to help his family. When Sequoia was 8-year-old was shot near the Wendy's in her mother's backseat, I thought that was wrong too. So anywhere there's wrong, I'm going to stand up against. I think we need the police. I know that I need the police. I have several that work for me here at the studio. We need them, but we need them reformed. We need them trained well. We need the right structure, right? But taking money from the police department to make the police department smaller, that troubles me.
The following video contains profanity and language that some viewers may find offensive. Viewer discretion is advised.
Truth is I'm tired, options are few.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl, Sister Girl on Films, and we are back with another episode of Child, what is this? This is basically my bad movie review series on the channel. You guys asked for more of these Child, what is this videos, and so for the 2025, I plan to deliver. And so as you guys can tell by the title, we'll be watching another Tyler Perry exclusive, written, directed, produced by the Tylarious Daquan Perry. And that movie is Duplicity. Y'all, when I say this movie pissed me off, it really pissed me off. Like, usually, like with the other movies that I've done with Tyler Perry, I can find a little bit of humor in them, a little bit of enjoyment. This sent me up the wall, baby. So this is also another one of Tyler Perry's movies that is available on Amazon Prime. If y'all are not aware, Tyler Perry signed a 4-movie deal with Amazon Prime. I think what was it, Divorce in the Black? I think that one was on Amazon Prime, and now we have this one. So y'all, we have 2 more Tyler Perry movies coming up at some point in time. So anyway, let's go ahead and get into Duplicity. Duplicity, now I had to write down these actors' names, child. Okay, I didn't know them, besides Tyler Lepley, okay? So Duplicity stars Tyler Lepley, Kat Graham, Megan Tandy, and Ronrico Lee. I know him, Ronrico Lee. I never knew his name. So Duplicity opens with the most unnecessary opening scene that I think I've seen in a movie in a very long time. We start in a cycling studio, within a cycling class. Are they called like cycling studios, like a yoga studio? I don't know, but they were in there cycling. It lasted long enough for us to hear a snippet of a song, and then the music abruptly cuts off, and then we're in the parking lot. Okay, I'm thinking surely this cycling studio is going to be a plot point at some time later in the movie. So this is why we only got a snippet of it, because we're going to return to it later.
No, ma'am. No, you're very mistaken. You're very mistaken.
So after this very strenuous cycling class, everybody comes out with their clothes drenched in sweat. And by drenched, I mean everybody just had a little wet patch right here. Girl Fela, we'll get to that. Fela, hair perfect, makeup together after this very intense cycling class. Fela makes it known that she is not fucking with Kevin. Kevin is played by Ronrico. She thinks he's a creeper. She's just really not feeling him. He gives her a compliment and tells her how beautiful she is. And she's like, yeah, well, my husband thinks so too. So I'm like, oh, okay, a little bit of drama. He must have been trying to get with my girl, and she was not having it. Fair enough. And so our girl Marley, who is our resident lawyer in this movie, she's one of those girls that's like besties with all the men. She's one of them. And she, tells Fela, oh, give Kevin a chance. He's so sweet. He's like a brother to me. I really love him. Da, 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 da. So Marley and Tony, who is played by Tyler Lepley, they are in a couple. And so they're all kissy, lovey-dovey. And so they all plan to meet up at a little restaurant or whatever, I guess, for maybe like a brunch type of deal, because it's morning. Let's be very clear. It's supposed to be morning. I don't know what time in the morning, but it's supposed to be morning. And so Fela lets them know, okay, well, I need to go home, get dressed right quick, so I'm gonna meet y'all there. And don't bring Kevin. And so we get to the restaurant, and there's a guy sitting there with Tony, and they're kind of mean-mugging each other, and there seems to be a little bit of tension. And come to find out, this guy is Rodney, who is Fela's husband. And so Fela and Rodney seem to have a little bit of like marital issues happening. But in this little restaurant scene, we find out that Tony and Marley have been together for like roughly 8 months, and they met through Fela because Tony got fired from the police department for some trumped up charges. And so Marley became his lawyer to help him sue the police department to get a big settlement. Okay. Now where I'm confusion is that since when are lawyers, Tyler, allowed to date former clients? I know each state has a different law. I don't know which state this is, but I'm pretty sure majority of them, there's some sort of either time limit from the time you are representing the client to the time that you can actually date them. In some instances, you probably can't date them at all. So the fact that it's been 8.5 months that they've been together, and he had that settlement like about the same amount of time, because he kept talking about how the money had run out on the settlement. We'll get there. Again, I'm sick of Tyler not knowing how lawyers lawyer and making up shit for the sake of a plot. And also too, I'm tired of there always being a goddamn lawyer in these movies. Everybody ain't got to be a lawyer, Tyler Perry, or a police officer. Tony, Marley, and Rodney are sitting there kind of chatting it up, and then Fela comes in. Now mind y'all, we just left Fela in the parking lot, right? Because she had to go get dressed. Girl, where do you live? Because in the time it took Tony and Marley to make it to the restaurant where Rodney was already there, she had already went home, got showered, dressed in work clothes, and now she's walking into the brunch spot like maybe a minute after them. Bitch, are you Superwoman? Like, did you jump into a phone booth and magically change? And before anybody says something, yes, I know I used a clip of Wonder Woman. And yes, I know that she spins around to change into her superhero costume. Before y'all get to popping them gums in the comments, I know what I did. I know what I used. There's not any visuals of Superwoman in a phone booth. So shut up. Like, the pacing and timing of that made absolutely no sense, Tyler. While they're eating their brunch or whatever, like I said, Fela and Rodney seem to be having some tension that they really don't want to talk about. And so Fela says to Marley, you know, well, what's up with you and Tony? You know, are y'all planning on getting married anytime soon? And that's when we find out they've only been together for 8 months. And I'm like, girl, why are we talking about marriage? They've only been together for 8 months. I don't know. Maybe where y'all from, that's like a long amount of time. But for me, at 8 months, I'm just trying to determine if I really like you. 8 months, I'm still on the fence about you. And then at a year, I probably decided, oh, okay, I like you. So anyway, so Kevin is a police officer. We get to Kevin leading, I guess, the daily police briefing meeting where they have a chart of the city, and it's broken up by zone. And Kevin says, well, you look at my chart here. We got the red. Now the red means crime, okay? Now when it's dark red though, that means it's a lot of crime. Now if you see these little dots here, you know, the pink represent armed robbery, but then the blue represent murder. So I want y'all to remember these colors, because that is gonna be the crime you need to look out for in the zone in which you are assigned. I said, oh, okay, is that how that works? I mean, that might be how that worked. I don't know. But I was just confused as to why there were no overlapping colors, because it seems to me that there would be an overlap of crime. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't think armed robbery is mutually exclusive to one area, while murder is mutually exclusive to the other. But you know what? I don't know. I'm not a police officer. So anyway, so Kevin is looking very like weird. It's giving like fake nice. It was giving like kind of like creepy. And so he lets people know, like, I know some of you guys are vets, some of you guys are rookies. And so, you know, if you have any questions about anything, you know, come and holler at your boy. And he releases everybody to go and start their shift. And so he pulls one guy aside. He's like, hey, you're a rookie, huh? You know, why don't you ride with me today? I said, oh, okay, it's his training day. I mean, it could be because he was training. So shout out to Denzel Washington. And so the new guy goes with Kevin, and he's going to be training him and riding around with him for the day. So then we get to Fela at work. Come to find out, Fela is a news anchor. Now, the name of her show is the Early for Us show. Now, I don't know about y'all, but back in the day, well, I don't get up early no more, but back in the day when I used to, the early news show came on at about 4 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning. And then you have the regular early morning show that came on about 6 or 7 o'clock in the morning. Either way, she is hosting the early morning show. They went cycling this morning and to brunch. So one could guess that maybe they have went to cycling like maybe at 6 o'clock in the morning. I don't care where you live, the sun ain't never really as bright as it was in that opening scene. And there were a bunch of people at this brunch spot, and well, this breakfast spot. So what time is all this happening, Tyler? Did you consider that? I could see if she was like hosting the midday show, that would have made sense. But the fact that the name of her program was Early for Us, oh, okay. So then we go over to our boy Rod. He's going for a jog, and so he goes down this little side street. I struggle to call it an alley, but they refer to it as an alley. This little side alley. We cut to an older lady in the house, and she gets a phone call. And she picks up the phone, and the person on the other line is like, hey, I know you probably don't know me, but I'm your neighbor from across the fence. And I just want to let you know that there's a man running back behind your house, and he has a hood up, so you might want to call the police. Now, here's where I'm concerned. If the lady don't know you, y'all have never met, how the hell you got her phone number? Huh? How do you have that lady phone number? Now, could you, I don't even know. Like in my mind, I'm like, could you look up like a reverse search on the internet? But by that time, why didn't you just call the police if you saw somebody that looked suspicious running down the alley versus you just magically having this lady's phone number? You know what I'm saying? And I believe she was on a landline. Even more preposterous, Tyler, that somebody this lady don't know would just so happen to have her phone number to call her. Anyway, I guess you can get them. If the spam people can get our phone numbers randomly, I guess this lady on the phone can randomly get her phone number too. So the lady calls 911, and Kevin and who we come to find now is Caleb, who is the rookie, are the ones that take the call. So once they're done wrapping up, letting a lady get off scot-free after she was apparently going 30 miles per hour over the speed limit, they were in a residential area. That's beyond reckless driving. But anyway, Kevin tells Caleb to let her off with a warning. Don't give him no ticket. And Caleb is like, I just want to do my job the right way. And Kevin is like, well, we got to cut people some slack. This ain't no real crime. We got to go over to real crime. So they go over to where the call came. They pull up, guns out, ready to go. I'm like, nobody said they saw a weapon. Why are we pulling up to the scene with our guns out, ready to rock and roll? So Rodney comes out from behind, I guess, the alley, and Caleb is in front of Kevin. And so he's telling Rodney to put his hands up. Rodney doesn't hear him because he has earphones on. And then once Rodney looks up, he's startled. And then he goes to put his hands up. His cell phone is coming out with his hand. Caleb is like, he has a gun. Boom, boom, boom. Caleb shoots Rodney. Rodney is dead. We're back at the news studio with Fela, and Fela is reading the prompts, and it's a breaking news story that comes over, and they find that it's appropriate to have Fela read the prompt that has her husband's name as the person who was shot by the police? In what world, Tyler? In what world would the news producer allow the anchor, who I'm sure they know her husband, they have the same damn last name, in what world would the crew on the damn field, the people who hear the damn receptors to get the emergency crews, however they get the damn news, who would say, oh shoot, that's Rodney Blanchett? I don't remember their last name, y'all. That's Rodney Blanchett. Oh shoot, that's Fela's husband. Let's let her read this live on air. So they get to the hospital and Fela's in there. She's distraught. She sees Kevin. She means mugging him. I'm trying to figure out why the hell is Kevin at the hospital, because you are one of the 2 officers that was on the scene where Rodney was shot. There's no way in hell you would be at the hospital. I just find that hard to believe. I would imagine your supervisor would have already told y'all to make it back to the department and kind of wait for further instruction, because a man was just shot and killed and y'all have it on body cam that he had a cell phone. I don't know. I could be wrong. I'm not a police officer. Neither is Tyler Perry. Neither of us know what the fuck we're talking about. Marley and Tony show up. And this is when we find out that Tony is now a private eye. How fucking convenient. And so Fela is pissed off. She's upset. You know, she's cussing Kevin out. She's like, what happened? You were there. Why'd you let my husband get shot? Like, y'all murdered my man. And and Kevin is like, I'm sorry. I just want to make sure you're okay. And then a doctor comes up and lets Fela know that Rodney did in fact die from his gunshot wound. Of course, we have to fast forward to the funeral. We don't really get a funeral scene. But while they're at the funeral, I guess a competing news team is there and they're trying to get as much coverage as they can, because now it has come out that Rodney had a cell phone. He didn't actually have a gun. So now it's another incident of an unarmed black man being killed by the police. Very heavy-handed storyline. And so Fela goes off on the news reporters and she's like, you hope you got everything you needed. You know, this was a racist white man that killed my husband. You let the world know that. Now get up out of here. I hope you got the news clip that you wanted. Yada, yada, yada. So now everybody says a racially motivated police shooting. Another one we're going to take to the streets, honey. We get 0 footage of people taking it to the streets, but that's fine. Tyler said that's what was happening. Damn it, that's what was happening. So we get to the repast. It's a repast, right? When we eat after the funeral. Yeah, the repast. We get to the repast, you know, and everybody's there and they're trying to comfort Fela. Marley is like upset because Rodney was like a brother to her. Remember I said earlier, she's like that girl, like, oh my God, like I have so many male friends. Like I'm a guy's girl. She's one of those. So Rodney was like a brother to her. And so she's like hell bent on like, they're going to pay for this shit. Like the whole entire city, I don't care if the state is going to pay for what they did to Rodney. I loved him like a brother. I'm like, bitch, what kind of lawyer are you? If you helped Tony with a wrongful termination suit, would that not make you like an employment lawyer? And if you're an employment lawyer, would you be representing Fela and her family in a wrongful death suit? Because then wouldn't that require you to be like a civil rights attorney?
I do not understand.
Maybe I'm tripping, because to my knowledge, lawyers, much like doctors, have specializations. So while I know that a doctor knows general medical things, I would not go to a heart surgeon for my pap smear. You know what I mean? So I'm not calling Blackburn, and Blackburn that handle car accident cases. I'm not going to call them to represent me in my divorce. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. Maybe I'm not a lawyer, so I don't know how this shit work. I just got a brain. Kevin rolls up to the repast and Fela is like, what is he doing here? She's causing a ruckus and Kevin is like, I'm sorry, I wanted to pay my respects. And so Tony is like, you need to get the fuck out of here. You know, why are you here? You know you shouldn't be here. And so he pushes Kevin outside so they can go have a conversation. Now, my question is, and my question has been up to this point, where the fuck is Rodney's family? He ain't got no mama, he ain't got no daddy. Where's Fela's family? They don't have no in-laws, no cousins, no nothing. Like, nobody was in the front yard, you know, because you always got a cousin outside smoking or drinking something out the car that's outside because they really don't fuck with the family like that. That probably would have stopped Kevin from coming in. Where the family?
She's got a point. Now, come on now.
Okay. So Tony and Kevin are at the end of the driveway talking, conveniently kind of close to Sam and Shannon, who work at the news station. And they're just kind of talking about how Caleb has been kind of put like in the safe house. And Tony's like, how could you let this happen? And Kevin is talking about how, you know, well, it was an accident and it looked like a gun, like we had the body cam footage, all this other stuff. And so Tony and Kevin ended their conversation, and so now Shannon and Sam kind of sort of got some sort of scoop, I guess, you know, that's kind of making them wonder, okay, like, what is actually going on here? You know, like, was this shooting justified? Was it racially motivated? Like, what happened? So Marley in her whisper acting, because she whisper acted through this whole movie, I said, girl, what are you saying? Open your mouth. So Marley goes to the mayor's office and she's like, why have y'all not released the body cam footage yet? Because I know that y'all saw what happened and y'all don't want. That's how she was talking. Girl, open your mouth. Tyler, direct. Shit. Basically, Marley is letting the mayor know, like, y'all need to release the body cam footage because obviously y'all have something to hide. And then so the mayor's like, all right, bitch, I can show you, man, I can tell you. So she shows Marley the body cam footage and Marley starts crying because she sees Rodney being murdered. And then so the mayor's like, so as you can see, his cell phone clearly looks like it could have been a gun. So everybody's going to say this shooting is justified because it looked like he had a gun in his hand. What? So Marley, although she's shaken up, she kind of leaves with her head held high and she's like, you know what? Don't even worry about it, sis. I'm coming for y'all. There was no need for y'all to murder my brother like this. And so she goes and she's in her car and she's crying and she's upset. Tony calls her and she lets Tony know that she saw the body cam footage. And Tony was like, I did too. How the fuck you see the body cam footage? The mayor has the body cam. Like, is it uploaded to again, y'all, I don't know how any of this works. So Tyler could be 100% correct on how body cam footage works. I mean, he's pro-police. He probably has plenty of friends in the department who told him how this works. But I'm confused as to how Tony saw the body cam footage also. And it ain't been released to the public. Now, in the midst of this conversation at this in this Bojangles parking lot, I don't know where they were at, Tony calls Fela. And I was confused because, Tyler, why didn't you cut the scene, remind Tyler that the character's name is Fela, or is the character's name actually Fela, and half the actors know how to pronounce it right and half the actors don't? Which one is it? Because I was confused too. But Tony called her Fela, so I guess they cool like that. I don't know. Pissed me off. So the next day, they have a very lackluster press conference outside of like the mayor's office or whatever, or a courthouse. They were somewhere. Marley, of course, is talking about how she's representing Fela, and they're going to have justice, you know, for this unjustified murder. And they should just stay tuned, but they do want everybody to be peaceful, no violent protest, but, you know, justice will be served. And after she ends the press conference, she walks away, and then the reporters, nobody's snapping pictures. Nobody's like shouting out to get more information. The cameras don't follow her. They're all like in just one big circle jerk looking at each other. Tyler, you are like 45 movies in at this point. Why don't you know how to direct these types of scenes? Like, what the hell is going on? That pissed me off so bad. I was like, why are you just standing there? Like, one cameraman kind of put his camera down, the other one still holding his, and everybody just sitting in a circle in silence. Cut the scene, Tyler.
Cut the cameras. Dead ass.
Just cut it off. Like, why do we need... Anyway, so from the press conference, Marley goes back to the scene of the crime, and the elderly lady is out in her yard, and Marley starts asking her questions, and then she ends up asking her, well, who lives in the house behind you? Marley. Not only are you a lawyer, but your boyfriend, who was also good friends with Rodney, is a PI. Why didn't you ask him who lived in the house behind where the accident happened? I know y'all know the address because it made national news apparently. So why do you need to go to the lady? Now, I understand going and asking the lady what happened and finding out that she was the lady that called 911. Cool. But you couldn't look up who lived in the house behind. Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's too much work. She's an employment civil rights lawyer. She don't have time to also be an investigator. Although that she's doing investigative work right now. Anyway, but while she's there, Marley does find out that the woman received a phone call from the neighbor from across over the fence. So that is more information that Marley needed. So she's like, that's a little peculiar, but okay. We're going to put a pin in that for later. And so Marley heads back to the office. And while she's walking towards her office, because she wasn't in the building, I guess her secretary is walking towards her office with Sam and Shannon. Now, my question is, secretary, did you call Marley to see if she was in her office and if it was okay for her to see people right now? Because she wasn't in her office. So they're walking up to meet her in her office and she's coming in the office. Shannon and Sam show Marley some pictures and comes to find out, dun 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 dun, Rodney was having an affair with a lady named Anna somebody. I wrote it down, but having an affair with who appears to be a very beautiful Latina woman named Anna Anna Street, Anna Smart, Anna Blackwell, Anna something. I wrote it down. And so of course Marley is like, girl, what? Like they have like some surveillance footage and they show Tony in a car taking pictures of Rodney with this other woman. After Marley gets this bombshell information, she goes over to Fela's house where Fela is sitting in the backyard burning pictures of Rodney, her dead husband, in a fire pit. I'm quite knowledgeable of the grieving process. Like I know a lot about it. Anger is a part of the grieving process. You know, so burning pictures of him because you can't get his face out of your head. I'm not aware of that part of the grief process, but everybody grieves differently, okay? And so not only is she burning pictures of her dead husband that she loves so much because she doesn't want to keep seeing his face everywhere, okay? But also she's doing it in a full beat. She is sad and depressed, but makeup is together, honey. She had enough gumption to get up in the morning and put on her makeup. She's gonna look good. That was a choice, Tyler. That definitely was a choice. And so Marley and Fela go in the house. And so they're talking. And so Fela says, you know, I wish I had never married him. And Marley's like, what do you mean? And I had to write this down, y'all. I had to write this down because I need to say this verbatim. And so Fela says, if I never met him and I never fell in love with him, then I wouldn't feel like this. And I said, I get it. And I thought that's where we were going to stop. But nope. Tyler says, keep going. And then she says after that, and he will still be alive. Huh? Now say what now? Now that's where you lost me, Tyler. Because I understand the idea behind, if I had never met him, I never would have fell in love with him. We never would have got married, and I wouldn't be feeling like this because, you know, I wouldn't really know him, right? But how does her being married to him connect to his death? Now, mind you, we have a whole twist at the end, so I get it. Maybe that was supposed to be like innuendo to that. But Tyler, we're not supposed to have any clues to the twist ending. So that don't make no sense in the terms of writing, okay? You still ain't hired nobody to, okay. Marley kind of lets the cat out of the bag that Rodney was having an affair. She was like, well, do you think that maybe he could have been like having an affair with somebody? Or, and then I'll give Tyler credit for this, because Fela was like, why would you ask me that? Yes, why would you ask that? That's such a dumbass question. And so Fela was like, so are you saying he was having an affair? Oh, okay, so now I'm about to be humiliated in front of the world. That's fine. Let me be humiliated then. So after Marley, the amazing lawyer, ruined Fela's day, we cut to a scene of her heading back home, and while she's getting out the car, Caleb pulls up, and he's like, can you let her know that I'm so sorry? You know, he's referring to Fela, of course. Yeah, I forgot to mention that Fela goes to Tony's office and she confronts him about knowing that Rodney was having an affair and not telling her. I can't remember, because I forgot to write in my notes, so I can't remember if it happened before or after she went to Fela's house. But she did confront him, and he was like, well, dang, it's my bad. You know, it really wasn't that deep. I confronted him about it. He said he was sorry, that he wasn't going to cheat on his beautiful wife no more, which I thought that was odd to say. Anyway, and he was like, so I didn't really think to mention it to you. And so Marley is like, wow, I can't believe it. You would lie to me about one thing. You would lie to me about everything. So she's pretty much like, you know what? I need space from you. I'm going to see you at home later, whatever. So she's pissed off at Tony for not telling her, you know, that Rodney was having an affair. Okay. So now fast forward to Marley is back home, and as she's getting out the car, Caleb shows up at the house. He's like, hey, can you tell Fela? Okay. Can you tell Fela that I'm really sorry? Because this is what Caleb called her. Because Tyler can't be bothered to cut the scene and remind the actors of what the names of the other characters are. This is the second damn actor to call this lady Fela. Is her name Fela or Fela? Which one is it? I'm going to go with what Ron Rico say, because Ron Rico seems like the one that know what the hell going on in this movie as the main actor that we know. So Caleb says, let Fela know I'm sorry. It was an accident and I didn't mean to kill her husband. And so Marley is freaking out, of course. And so she starts screaming for Tony to come out and help. And Tony comes out, puts a gun in Caleb's face. I will blow your head off. Get the fuck away from my house. Da, 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 da. Fair enough, you know. Caleb, to our knowledge, is a very, you know, murderous guy, and he killed a black man. He was racist and all the things, allegedly. So, you know, he came out in the garage, protected his woman. So they go in the house. Marley is still mad that Tony, you know, kept the truth from her. And then so she tells him he needs to sleep on the couch. Sam ends up calling Marley, and she's still upset. She's in bed crying. She's looking through pictures of Rodney, talking about how much she loved him. And I'm like, did y'all date? Were y'all like in love? Because the pictures were just very much like more than just like, this is my homeboy, this is like, he's like a brother to me. This was given like y'all was like secretly in love with each other. Girl. Anyway, so Sam calls Marley and he's like, hey, we're still trying to dig up some information on him. And I was confused as to who the him was. And it took me a minute to realize that the him was Caleb. Because I don't remember, I could be wrong, but I don't remember them saying his name in the scene. So I thought they were talking about Rodney, but they were actually talking about Caleb. So they were looking into Caleb's military history. They still really didn't find a whole lot of information. But they'll call her and let her know when they find out more. Then why the fuck did you just call her now? Why did you call her now? You called me to tell me you didn't have enough information to share with me. Why are you calling me then? You see what I'm saying? This movie was pissing me off. Like, oh, Tyler and his dumbass storytelling. Like, why would you have them call her if they had nothing to tell her? Then what's the point of this scene, Tyler? Other than for us to set up that they're looking into his military background. Okay. let us know when you find something. Shit. So the next day, this movie. So the next day, Marley goes to Fela's house, and while she is there, you know, she's knocking on the door, and then she hears the house alarm go off. She looks out in the back, and there's a guy jumping out the window, and so she's like freaking out, of course, and she's like, Fela. She has the key to get into Fela's house. She unlocks the door, and then she has to bust through the door. Was there something blocking it? Like, why did you have to bust through the door when you just unlocked it with your key? I don't understand. Okay. So somebody was in the house. Fela's on the couch. You know, I was assuming she was like drunk or asleep, but it did look like she may have been dead or something. She wakes up, says she had no idea anybody was in the house. And so they end up calling the police. And so they call the police, and they're like, the entire police department is there. Why? Nobody was harmed. Like, nobody was shot. Like, an intruder was in the house. Okay, cool. Why do we need fucking 20 police officers on the scene?
And release all of those sounds that are trapped in your mind.
Tyler Perry pisses me off. This don't make no damn sense. This don't make no sense. So anyway, Kevin, of course, walks in, and Fela makes a whole spectacle about it, and she's yelling, and you get out of here. Why are you here? Everybody get out my house. And so she kicks everybody out the house, all 30 of the police officers that are there for an intruder that she has no idea why he was there. Okay. We see on the news that the affair has gotten out. So now it is known that Rodney was having an affair. Tyler, no, who gives a shit? Nobody would care in real life if there was a shooting of an unarmed black man that it seemed to be that it was racially motivated. Nobody would give a shit if he was having an affair on his wife. Like, would it be a character assassination? I mean, I guess, but like, it still had nothing to do with him being shot by the police. So I don't know why that had to be a plot point. Like, oh my God. Okay. Marley ends up going back to the mayor's office, and she confronts her about releasing information that Rodney was having an affair, and she was like, this is a character assassination. And the mayor is like, well, you saw the body cam footage. You know, we're going to fight this because obviously the shooting was justified because it looked like a gun. Once this body cam footage gets out into public, like, it's going to be over for you. So we might as well settle now. If we settle, then we won't release the body cam footage, and like, we can make all this go away. And so Marley is like, no, I don't care. I will sue this entire state. At this point, I started getting really pissed off, okay? Like, I started to check out the movie because it was so fucking stupid. Well, fast forward, Marley ends up getting Fela like a $15 million settlement with the city. And so Fela has a press conference when everybody's sitting there watching her like this. In what world? In what world? Are you having a press conference when everybody is dead silent? There's no cameras flickering. There's no reporters talking. There's no people cheering. There's nobody holding signs. Nothing. It looks like a damn school assembly. So anyway, at this point, I've come up with my own theory about what's happening in this movie. And so my theory was that, now I'm not saying that I was right about this theory, y'all. I'm just telling y'all that this is what I was thinking at the time. My theory was that Tony told Fela about Rodney's affair, and Tony and Fela were in cahoots to set up Rodney to get murdered. That was my theory. But then I was like, but then how would Kevin had known? Just so happened, and I was like, well, maybe Kevin was in on it. So I couldn't quite figure out how Kevin tied into it, or Caleb thing, and I'm thinking maybe that's gonna be a twist in the end. But that was my theory at this point. So we fast forward 4 months later. Tony's still sleeping on the couch.
What happened?
Right.
4 months later, Tony, 4 months later, Tony is still sleeping on the couch. Fellas, I'm gonna ask y'all. Hell, even women, you know what I'm saying? Because sometimes women might be relegated to sleeping on the couch. I don't know your relationship. So, people in relationships, if your significant other made you sleep on the couch for 4 months, let me know in the comments below. Are you staying with them or are you over the relationship? Because me, myself, and I, after about, I don't know, a week or two, if you still harping over the same shit, obviously it's a point in the relationship that we're not going to be able to move past. So I'm going to go on with my life. But I guess Tony loved a hoe. And so we find out that Fela hasn't talked to Marley since she got the settlement. No surprise there. So then we get a scene of Marley in the parking lot talking to Shannon and Sam, where I guess she must have taken a cycling class that evening or something, but they're in the parking lot at night. And so they're kind of talking about how they haven't really heard from Fela and they thought it was kind of strange because, you know, nobody's heard from her at the news studio. Like after she got the settlement, she just kind of just went ghost. As Marley's walking to her car, a black kidnapper truck pulls up, snatches her. She doesn't scream, she doesn't struggle. They don't see this unmarked black car pull up, them being Shannon and Sam. She just gets snatched up. Cool. So we find out that the person who snatched her up was Caleb, and he's trying to convince her of like something that's not right, like all the stuff y'all heard about me was not true. Like it had came out that he was like violent in his past, and while he was in the military he got a dishonorable discharge because he attacked a black man and he used racial slurs. And so we come to find out the other people in the van with Caleb is the lady Anna that was having an affair with Rodney, who now is a blonde-haired white lady. It could be the same Hispanic Latina from the first pitch. I don't know. I'll put the side by side up here. Y'all let me know if it's the same person. Could be. I don't know. It don't look like the same lady. Could be. Different profile, blonde hair. Who knows? But then we see Caleb's wife, who is a black woman. And so Tyler made Caleb's wife a black woman because obviously he can't be racist because he has a black wife.
Who had been saying that? Who said that? Who said that?
Anna talks about how she dated Kevin and he was abusive to her. She was able to get away from him, and when she got away from him, she moved to the city that they're in, and that's when she met Rodney. She knew he was married, but she started taking Rodney's self-defense class. Okay. Such a arbitrary thing to throw out there. But she started taking his self-defense class, and Rodney let her know that he would never let anything happen to her, and that's how they became close. And Kevin was jealous of the relationship, and that was why Kevin had motive to kill Rodney. Like it was a whole setup type situation, basically. They let Marley go, and Marley lets Shannon and Sam know, like, we need to meet these people because they have stuff that they want to tell us. Shannon, Sam, and Marley all go to this hotel, this little motel, where apparently they only have one TV channel because every TV that was in frame was playing the exact same clip on the exact same timestamp, so the screens were exactly the same in each. I think it was like 3 rooms. Okay, I mean, could be, who knows. So anyway, they're at the motel. Child, I'm gonna put my notes down at this point because I was so checked out in the movie. Hopefully I remember the rest of this end of this movie. So basically Anna and Caleb and Caleb's black wife all talk about how it was a misunderstanding about the stuff with the military, and that Caleb was actually protecting his wife because she was dating the black dude in the military, and he was abusive to her, so Caleb beat his ass, and he never called the guy a racial slur. They just made that up so he get kicked out the military and kind of ruin his reputation. So lo and behold, this police officer that was called a racist and killed an unarmed black man was really not racist at all. He was mischaracterized. No, the police officer was the victim.
It was all a lie. Guys, it was all a lie.
Okay, and so we have to prove his innocence because he's being slandered by these black people that are using race as a way to get people up in arms so they could scam the city for millions of dollars. Let me finish my review because I'm starting to get irritated. In my recollection of this last part of the movie, it's gonna be real sketchy. Because when I say I was done with this movie and almost cut it off, I was so checked out. So it's gonna be questionable, my recap on this part, okay? Hey y'all, so listen, this is editing me. I said I couldn't let my crew go out like that. I can't give y'all no half-ass recap. So this is what happened while they were in the motel room. So Anna ends up telling Marley that at a mansion that they were staying at, they being her and Kevin, she ended up putting a cell phone in one of the bathrooms that has video footage of them basically plotting to defraud the city. And she wants Marley to go out there to that mansion to get the information, and she gave Marley the passcode to get into the phone. That's actually what happened in this scene. I had to make it right for y'all. My bad. Anna gives Marley the location of I believe the mansion where they were staying. So now she has Kevin's address. And so while she's out there trying to snoop and see what's going on, Tony pops out of nowhere and jumps up behind her, hits her in her damn forehead, and then covers her mouth. Tyler couldn't have been bothered to, again, cut the scene, reshoot it so that he actually walks up and puts it. Anyway, so Tony is like, why are you out here? Like, what's going on? Like, I was a little concerned about some stuff too. That's why, you know, I'm out here too. But I'm like, why is Tony out here? This don't make no damn sense. And why isn't Marley questioning why he's out there too? Whatever. So Kevin pulls up in this nice ass luxury car. I don't know luxury cars because I'm a brokey. Lamborghini, Ferrari, something. It's a nice car though. And so he tells him to come on in the house, you know, we can just hang out or whatever. So Tony and Marley go in the house. Marley has to go to the bathroom. She goes to the bathroom, and while she's there, she pulls out the phone, and there's a video on there. And on the video is Tony and Anna going back and forth, and Anna calls Tony Kevin. So I'm thinking like, so was Kevin Tony this whole time? I'm guessing that was supposed to be also the twist, that Anna was actually I don't know, y'all. I don't know. On the video, like they talking, they like, man, yeah, I'm gonna hook you up with my girl. This is what Tony is saying to Kevin. Yeah, she got me this fat settlement. You know, she gonna be able to do the same thing for you. It was so contrived. I had a headache. I have a headache now talking about it. And so Marley now sees that Tony is not who she thought he was, and that Kevin is an ain't shit ass motherfucker. So she's like, all right, babe, I'm gonna go ahead and go. And they're like, no, stay, you know, of course, because now there are villains. Tony now turns into like the most ruthless gangster ever in the world. It's like, yeah, baby, come and sit down. Where you going? And so she's like, oh no, guys, I gotta go. Now, mind you, she ain't got no keys in her hand. She don't have no nothing. I'm like, girl, where your keys at? You left them in the car? And so she's trying to open the door. The door's locked. And she says, Tony, tell him to open up the door. And Kevin is like, oh, you forgot your keys, Marley. Come and sit down. And then Tony is like, baby, you forgot your cell phone too. Don't you need your cell phone? And so she like, you know, I don't know what's going on, y'all. I just want to leave. Let me go. And then once they figure out that she knows what's going on, that they're working in cahoots, they chase her for like 2.3 seconds through the house. They get her. What did they do? They gave her drugs, y'all. I'm sorry. I just remembered. They gave her some pills. So like they held her down, opened her mouth, and gave her some pills to knock her out. They knocked her out for like 5 minutes. Okay. They carry her off to a boat. This is a nice ass house. I will give Tyler credit for that. Probably one of his houses, but it was a nice ass house. So they go out to like the dock. They put her on the boat. And then out of nowhere, here comes Fela. And she comes out and she gets behind. She gets behind Kevin and starts helping him steer the boat. I was like, what the hell is going on? And of course, they're all in cahoots, and they're like, I told you she was going to help us to get a settlement. Like, we was right. We got to kill her, got to get rid of her. Then we're going to be scot-free, yada, yada, yada. So while they're there, they're like, let's tie something heavy around her. Let's throw her in the water. So while they're out there, like the the Marine police, I don't know what they're called, but they came out and they're like, hey, you're not supposed to be out here. The water's really low, so we normally don't let people out here on the water on their boats. You know, so I'm gonna have to give y'all a citation, whatever. So he sees Marley tied up in the back of the boat and she's still knocked out. And he's like, is she okay? He sees that they have something tied around her. And then once they ask about it, Kevin ends up shooting him. They, you know, throw him in the water. And then Kevin goes into the water. He makes his boat sink. And they're like freaking out. They're like, we got to get out of here. But then they see that the water police officer, whatever they're called, was floating on top of the water because he had like a life vest on. So they had to go into the water and they were trying to get him, attach him. They had thrown Marley. This whole scene was just a mess, y'all. They threw Marley in the water with an anchor tied around her waist. Then she goes sinking to the bottom of the lake. But then miraculously, she's able to wiggle her way out of it because they half-ass tied her to anything. So she swims over to the overturned boat. And so she finds like a little airspace and she's in there breathing. And then she swims. I said, when did we learn that she knows how to swim? She was drugged to the bottom of the lake with an anchor tied around her waist. She was down there for a minute. She didn't run out. Okay. Okay. Movie is gonna movie. She goes on the side of the boat. She grabs a flare gun and she shoots Tony, Kevin, and Fela. She kills all of them, and then she shoots the flare gun in the air. The person who would have responded to the flare gun is dead in the water. Unless I'm sure there's probably a station somewhere, but okay, I'm not asking no more questions. And so then the movie wraps up with, I'm getting nauseous even thinking about it, but Marley goes on this whole tangent about how they were wrong. It was bullshit that they used race baiting to try to get people in an uproar so they could defraud the city. And, you know, and we need to stop making shootings like this political because, you know, we need to look at the humanity of people and unarmed black men, you know, shouldn't be killed by the police, which true, should not. And it just was really, for me, Tyler Perry, I cut it off, y'all. I don't even know what her whole speech was. I couldn't be bothered to have taken a note on it. And that's where the movie ends, with Marley lecturing the people about not falling for the okie doke, you know, and not believing everything until you find out whatever the fuck. So that was Duplicity. To say I hated this movie will be an understatement. I am so sick and fucking tired of Tyler Perry. This movie in particular really made my skin crawl because knowing how he feels about ideas like defund the police and how he's pretty much pro-police, and he's like, I feel like we need more police. They just need to be properly trained. He's one of those. I feel like I don't want to see your take on this topic. I'm sorry. I don't like how he sets it up, you know, for it to be a conversation about an unarmed black man being killed, but then subsequently made the police officer, the white police officer, the victim, and then the black police officer was the villain in this. I can't with Tyler Perry. Everything from him calling people that critique his movies highbrow Negroes to now this very much pro-police movie. And just topic aside, his lack of desire in wanting to fucking direct his actors. I'm so tired of it. I can't point to anybody and say they gave a good performance. I'm just gonna be honest. I feel like everybody's performance was terrible. Tyler Lepley, God bless him. Thank God he's beautiful. Maybe I need to see him in other things, but the fact that he just could not say Fela and kept calling that lady Fela. I think he said her name right once. And again, that to me really grated on my nerves, because why can't you just direct? With Kat Graham and her whisper acting, because she was whisper acting through the whole damn movie, even to directing the extras, like, it's supposed to be your vision. And if this is your vision, keep it up here. Don't share it with us. I'm tired of it. To me, this felt like a propaganda movie. And y'all might think I'm going too far with it, but that's what it felt like for me. It felt like propaganda. And I checked out near the end. That's why I missed her whole little diatribe, because I said, this is just fucking Tyler Perry. This is just Tyler Perry sharing his thoughts on the police and how we need the police and the politicizing and not believing everything that we see. That's Tyler Perry sharing his view through this character. And while directors do that, writers do that, I get it. That's part of the creative process. Such a controversial topic in the Black community. I'm just gonna call a thing. And everybody has a right to tell their story the way they want to, and everybody has a right to share their thoughts however they want to. That is fine. I don't have to agree with what you're doing, but I feel like for whether I agree or not, do better. Like, write better stories, direct better movies, do fucking better. And he has 2 more movies that are going to come out on Amazon Prime. Y'all, I don't know if I have it in me to watch any more fucking Tyler Perry movies. I don't know that I have it in me, because my stomach is turning right now thinking about this. Just because I feel like the way he handled this was so crass. I'm not gonna lie. It was so just insensitive of how he handled it. And maybe I'm on edge because the whole, like, the attempted fake out, you know, with people saying, you know, they should pardon Derek Chauvin and all that. And I think that's so fresh in my mind. And then to have this movie come out, to say that I'm tired of Tylarious Daquan Perry would be an understatement. But y'all let me know y'all thoughts in the comments below, what you thought about Duplicity, if you watched it. Obviously, I don't recommend this. I just don't. Child, what is this? Thank y'all so much for watching, and I'm going to see y'all next time for something else, God willing. It is not going to be Tyler Perry. Bye.